The new Tappan Zee Bridge expected to be completed sometime in 2018. Now, as early as next month, work could begin on the 8 massive towers that will hold the thing up, but questions still do remain about the tolls and a whole host of other issues. Well, a new book called Across The Hudson, the Tappan Zee Megaproject, it covers that and much more. A short time ago, I spoke with the author, Phillip Plotch. Now, I know in the course of this book, you spoke to the 3 former governors preceding this sitting governor. Did even they underestimate, even as well as they knew Albany, just how fraught with political, bureaucratic peril this project was? And they said, if I had any idea if it was going to be this hard, I wouldn't have gotten such a migraine over it.
They each put a lot of thought into the project. Probably Governor Pataki the most, because he kicked off the idea of actually replacing the bridge.
Right.
And then once he decided he's going to replace the bridge, then everything changed. It's sort of like if you know you're going to get a new car, you don't put money into the car as much. So what happened with the bridge was the Thruway Authority stopped putting as much money into the car. They stopped replacing the parts. So back when he decided to replace the bridge, actually didn't have to replace the bridge, but it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're going to replace something, you're going to take care of it in a way that you actually have to replace it.
And I'm curious, I know in his particular case, a lot of environmental concerns kind of scuttled this, while I'm sure it was more dollars and cents with Patterson and Spitzer, right?
Not exactly. It was really Pataki, Spitzer and Patterson all wanted a consensus in the Hudson Valley. They wanted Rockland and Westchester residents to agree.
Yeah.
They wanted the business folks, the people who live by the bridge, to be the same as the people who live on the hill. The people who go into the city to be sort of have the same consensus as the people who go to White Plains, and that was just impossible. But they really wanted this consensus, and that's what doomed 30 years of planning. So
how is it that this governor, Governor Cuomo, got accomplished what his predecessors couldn't?
Well, the predecessors also, they wanted the consensus. They also wanted to deal with the congestion on the entire corridor. So if you go from Suffern in Rockland County all the way to Rye in Westchester, there's lots of congestion. And they were looking at it sort of as a whole. They were thinking about some land use issues. They were thinking about public transportation. They were thinking about changing people's work hours, all sorts of ideas to deal with the congestion.
And originally the thing was supposed to be a rail project, right, with the bridge. And now it turns out we're going to get a bridge and there ain't going to be any rails, right?
That's right. It's a crazy 30 years. But so what Governor Cuomo wanted to do is he said, okay, let's just get something done. He wasn't trying to solve all sorts of problems. He just wanted to replace the bridge. And if you focus on just that one thing, it's a little bit easier to take care of. The other thing was he didn't care about bringing everybody together. So where the previous governors kept on calling the Rockland County executives and the Westchester County executive to say what we should do, Governor Cuomo doesn't talk to them at all. He just closes the door, he gets his top people in and says, okay, what should we do? This is what the bridge should look like. This is how we're going to finance it. You make all those decisions behind closed doors. It's a much faster process.
Well, to that end, and I know you speak to a lot of different vantage points in the book, some have said, hey, that's the only way you can do it, right? You got to have, somebody's got to make the call, like it or hate it. But there are also a lot of other folks who said that what will be there when it's said and done might be better than the status quo, but it could have been even better than that. And others said that, he played free and easy, the governor, with some of the facts, while other people say he massaged them. What's your take? What was your finding?
I would say everybody's correct in this. There's no one truth when you look at all this. There was a lot of talk about a commuter rail, which would have been wonderful. Governor Pataki's vision was you'd have a commuter railroad that went from Stewart Airport. It connected the north-south railroad lines in Rockland County. Then it comes across the bridge, and it connects the north-south rail lines in Westchester. So he said, hey, I could take a train from my house in Peekskill to downtown White Plains to meet in the county offices. Or if you live in Rockland County, you can take a train directly into Grand Central. I mean, those are great ideas.
Well, you even go back to the governor's old man. I remember Mario Cuomo with a high-speed rail. Remember from Albany to New York that was going to happen? So.
That's right. I mean, so these are great ideas, and he doesn't exactly get the truth because people are giving him what he wants to hear. So the Governor Pataki, he heard something's going to cost $3 or $4 billion. It really was going to cost $20 billion.
Well, let's get to the price tag. Oh, the public's heard $4 billion to this point. What's the real math when you do it?
I don't think we're going to know until it's all over, but anything that goes over, the state's probably going to try to shift it somewhere else.
Well, in this one, this is a political quote, right? The $4 billion we heard. This wasn't an engineering quote.
No, this is the cost estimates after they bid the project out. So they have a firm that's doing design and then the build, which is actually an accomplishment of the governor. All the previous governors tried to get the legislature to change the law so you could have one firm do the design and the build. Governor Cuomo, he knows how to work the levers of power up in Albany, and he was able to get that passed.
But you think we're going to be north of $4 billion when it's said and done for this bridge?
It's not going to go less, that's for sure.
All right.
So one thing I once heard was that 10% of the projects come in on budget, and 10% come in on schedule, and 10% give us the benefits that we were told we were going to get, which means there's a 1 in 1,000 chance everything's going to work out well.
That's promising. Well, how about something we also know will go up, and that are the tolls? I've heard all kinds of estimates, but I also know in your reporting you said people won't feel it yet, but probably by 2023, they're going to see the tolls go north. If they're $3 now, where do you think they end up?
Well, the reason 2023 is because
that's when we got paid for it, right? Yeah.
Well, that's the one big loan we got from the federal government, where you don't have to pay it back until 5 years after it's completely built. So that's about $1.4 billion out of about 3.9. So the other chunks we're going to have to start paying back a little bit earlier. My guess on the toll, it'll be somewhat substantially the same as what it is at the Port Authority for the George Washington Bridge, but there'll be some discount for Rockland residents. So right now, Rockland residents are paying about $3 every time they go if they're going every day. So I'm sure that's going to be 3 times as much.
People could be paying $10 a trip. Wow.
But the smart thing about the governor is that some other governor is going to have to raise the tolls. But this governor gets to be at the big celebration saying we have a new bridge.
This is it's funny how that works out. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. All right, when we come back, we'll have some Hudson Valley headlines. Stay with us.